Hello, everybody. I'm Nancy Becher, the president and founder of Invisible Warriors. Welcome to Silent Strength with Invisible Warriors, a podcast dedicated to honoring the extraordinary women veterans who have faced the profound challenges of PTSD and military sexual trauma. Our journey began with a simple yet powerful mission to give voice to those whose strength often goes unseen. We believe in the power of stories to heal, connect, and transform. This podcast is a space where women veterans can share their experiences, offering hope and solidarity to others navigating similar paths. Each episode delves into the unique and personal stories of these courageous women, highlighting their resilience in the battles they continue to fight long after their service has ended. We bring in expert voices to provide insights and strategies, creating a deeper understanding of the complexities these veterans face. Silent Strength with Invisible Warriors is more than just a podcast. It's a community where listeners can find support and inspiration. For veterans adjusting to life after service, or for those who wish to stand with them, our podcast is an invitation to listen, learn, and grow together. We're committed to breaking the silence surrounding PTSD and military sexual trauma, creating a platform where these critical conversations can thrive. It's about acknowledging the unseen scars and celebrating the strength it takes to overcome them. Today, we are honored to have a guest who will share their personal journey, shedding light on the challenges and triumphs they've encountered. Their story is a testament to the resilience and courage that define our community. Join us in this vital dialogue and discover the power of shared experiences. Together, we can build a network of understanding and support, ensuring that no veteran feels alone on their journey. Welcome, TMA, to Silent Strength with Invisible Warriors. We're glad you're joining us here today.
I'm so glad to be on. I'm honored to have the space to share my experiences and get the information out there to others who may need it, who may be in a place where they feel they have no hope. I like to be a guiding light to anybody that's stuck in a dark place. And podcasts like yours give me a place to express that, and I'm very appreciative for your time.
Well, I'm glad that you're willing to step up and step out and share with us your thoughts. You are a veteran, correct?
Yes, ma'am. I did 4 years in the United States Army. I was 19 when I entered, very young. Uh, and and to be honest, I had already faced a lot of adversity, a lot of darkness. Was probably carrying quite a bit of PTSD going into the military, and so the experiences I had just multiplied the things that I was going through. Um, I I experienced a lot of sexual what was it? Of course, I'm having a brain fart right now. Um
All of us
harass
do that.
yeah. I experienced a lot of sexual harassment during the military. And that is something that I have found to be very common between women in the military. People have expressed to me, "Oh, things have changed," and I don't think they really have. I think that there's still a lot of it going on, and I don't know why. I don't know why when a woman decides to sign up for the military and put her life on the line, she's treated like she's less than, or treated like an object or anything like that. Like we're incapable of doing the job properly, and so we deserve to be treated as a lower being. Um, we're out there just like everybody else, trying to serve our time and trying to protect the country and to gain that honor that comes with being a soldier. And immediately when I joined, I thought, okay, these are all of my brothers, like they're just my comrades, and this is gonna be great. Like we're all gonna work together, and it's gonna be like a team. But I was treated very differently, and I tell people this all the time. Like as a woman, I express a lot of concern for any female entering the military, and I want them to know that there is a possibility. It's not a guarantee, but it is a possibility that you're going to experience a lot of adversity for being a female. And a lot of the males will not respect you just simply because you're a woman. They will feel they can put hands on you. Especially when soldiers are drinking, they think, "Oh, now it's all it's game. She's a female." Whatever the case may be. I went through it for majority of the 4 years that I was in the military. I thought being around my superiors, I would be safe. I found that to not be true. I found myself going out for a night with a couple of my other soldiers, and we all stayed at one person's house and woke up with one of them in the bed with me, touching me. And I never gave permission. I was told I would be safe, staying in the back room by myself. But yet I woke up with someone in the bed with me and someone who was a soldier and was above me. And I just remember being just terrified and being so young. I didn't really have, you know, that strength to just stand up for myself in the moment and, to say something. I mean, these are all friends. Like, what are they going to do? So I went and hid in the bathroom for, I don't know how long. It felt like hours until everybody was pretty much gone. And I did get up the courage to say something at one point to another soldier, probably the wrong person to tell. And I got reprimanded for it. This is a very common story also. I hear this all the time when I've shared it with other females. And yeah, I got in trouble for being sexually assaulted. And that to me is extremely damaging when it comes to your pride, when it comes to your self, like how you feel about yourself. Like it just immediately makes you feel like you're not worth anything. Um, yeah, so I spent time on actually get put on extra duty for a while, and was told that if I were to go to anyone else, that I would regret it. And as a young female, I really didn't feel like it was worth the risk. So I kept it to myself for many years. I didn't even tell anybody. I was like, you know what, whatever. It is what it is. Seems pretty common. I guess that's just what happens. Um, and it was actually just a few years ago. I was talking with a fellow soldier, fellow veteran, about some of our experiences that had given us PTSD. And for some reason, I just felt, I mean, he was sharing with me, so I felt comfortable. And I started to share my experience as if it was like it was not a big deal, because that's how I had kind of tried to play it off in my head. And I completely lost it. I mean, I was triggered, I was shaking, I was crying, and I was like, oh, this is bad. Like, why? I shouldn't have said anything. Now I'm embarrassed. But he was extremely he was so nice about it. I mean, just very like supportive, and was like, I can't believe that happened to you. And I was like, really? I was like, have you ever talked to any female veterans? Because this happens to almost all of us. Like, this is like, it's almost like it's part of your duty. And it's really sad. And I don't know what can be done to change it. If there's some sort of course they can do with the males before they start and be like, hey, man, these females are just soldiers. Treat them with respect like you would your fellow male soldiers. Um, so yeah, I went through about 40 years of my life extremely traumatized from childhood, military, all of that. And I reached a breaking point. I feel like I'd reached a breaking point several times, but it was an ultimate. So kind of like I gave myself an ultimatum that if I didn't fix it, I couldn't move forward because I was miserable. I was tired. I was exhausted. I wasn't sleeping very well. I was having nightmares constantly. I was having outrage on my family. It wasn't a life. And to the public, I played it off pretty well, that everything was fine. But anytime I was by myself, it was an absolute mess. So I reached out to the VA, and I know we had discussed about resources in these matters. And everyone, civilians, I think they believe that we are well taken care of, that we have all the resources we need. And the resources are there, but my experience and many experiences that I have heard, I've shared my experience with several veterans, probably hundreds by now, and they all express the same thing, that most of the doctors um, are probably overworked and overloaded with, too many people to take care of, because most of them never remembered who I was. Didn't really seem like they cared. It was more about, hey, hurry up, get your information, and get you on to the next person. Also, their mental health here in Nashville, I have not experienced a single time I've gone in there and been helped. Um, they were pushing medication on me when I was trying to get more of like a natural path and therapy. And they were also when I kept expressing for a long time that this was PTSD. I had done just years of research, and I knew that most all of my symptoms were because of PTSD. They never even considered it. They never assessed me for PTSD. They basically pushed it on me that I was bipolar and I needed to take bipolar medication. So, I asked them, I said, hey, if I try this medication and it doesn't work, can we work? Can we go towards these other routes? Sure, we can do that. So I took this medication knowing I didn't need it, so that I could so I could get the help that I needed. And the medication, of course, made me absolutely insane. It made me suicidal. I took it for about 2 days and I was like, there's no way. I just want to die. Like, this is awful. And when I told the doctor what I experienced, she said, "Oh, you just need to keep taking it. You just need to keep taking it. This is what's wrong with you." Uh, um, yeah. So there was a day where and I even told my husband, I said, I can't live anymore. I said, this is awful. The things that are in my head right now are just unbearable. And I went to the emergency room at the VA. They sent me to the mental health annex. The people at the mental health annex told me to call them back in 3 days. And when I called back, nobody answered. I called all day, from 8 a.m. until probably 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And the woman who gave me her personal number never picked up the phone, knowing that I was suicidal, that I mean, just devastated, completely broken down to the lowest point you could possibly imagine. And so I went home, and I truly believed that I was not going to make it. I had started having ideas on how I could go without it being obvious that I had done it myself. But luckily for me, uh, like I can't even explain the relief that came when my husband's friend contacted us about 220. Him and his wife had gone through a lot. They run a very big business and it's very stressful. And so they both did the session that 220 offers and said it was life changing for them. So they actually had all of their employees do it as well. And they told my husband, they said, hey, this session is free for veterans. And we know Tia, she's very open on social media about dealing with PTSD and all these, mental health issues. Have her reach out. So I did. I wasn't very, I had been through a lot when it comes to mental health. I started therapy when I was 11. I started mental health medication when I was 11, and it was just a roller coaster ever since. And I just didn't think that talking to somebody was going to make that big of a difference. But I figured since it was free, um, what did I have to lose? Nobody else was offering me help. I had even contacted civilian doctors, and the wait was 3 to 6 weeks just to get my introduction appointment. So I was like, what can I lose? At least somebody wants to help me. So I contacted them, and within, I think it was 48 hours, I had one of the coaches contact me to do the session. Um, the best part about this session is that you don't have to talk about any of the things that you've been through, which makes me just honestly not understand how it even works, because that's how, every other thing that you go through, you have to sit and you have to go through all the things you've been through and manually decompress these things, which causes a lot of stress. Um, it can make a lot of people worse. I've heard of people starting with EMDR and having their PTSD get worse because they're bringing these things up, and it's a very long process. It's not a quick process, and they just can't get themselves to go through it. And so the process that they do with 22-0 is amazing for that fact that you don't have to discuss anything you've been through. You talk about feelings that you felt, and you do a visualization and a breathing exercise. The session took me about an hour, and we did it through a video chat like we're doing right now, so that the coach can assess um, my physical state, and to see if I'm anxious. Because if you're anxious and if you're worked up, you can't move forward. That's the big part of this. You have to stay calm through the entire process. And so if you do get worked up, you slow down, you take a break, you breathe, and you get to where you're back in a calm state. And it was so simple. The whole time I'm sitting there going, there's no way this is going to work. There's no way this is going to work. This is too easy. This is, you know. And she told me when I got done with the session, she said, more than likely, you've had, 40 years of trauma. You're going to feel exhausted. And I was like, what? Like from a conversation? Okay. She said, if you feel the need to take to rest, go do that. Go to sleep. If you feel tired, go to sleep. Let your brain heal and rest as much as you can. Luckily for me, my kids were out of town with their grandparents. So I had time to do whatever I needed to do. And I slept for like 3 days. I got up, I think I got up to use the bathroom and maybe get a drink of water, and I went right back to sleep for 3 days. Um, and that was my brain finally taking a breath. I was in fight or flight mode for 40 years. I would only sleep for about 2 to 3 hours a night. I was having nightmares ever since I can remember, probably as early as 5, just constant nightmares all the time. And after that session, it was all gone.
Wow.
Like I have only had maybe 4 or 5 nightmares in the last 2.5 years. I no longer feel over vigilant when I'm out in public. I noticed pretty quickly when I went to the store with my daughter, and I kind of stopped and I was like, oh wow, I'm just kind of shopping and not sitting here wondering who's going to stab me. Um, which is, for some people be like, what? But for people that know what it's like when you're constantly surveilling where you're at, and you're
Mhm.
constantly checking the door, um, I couldn't have people walk behind me, like close behind me. I had to sit in a place. If I was at a restaurant, I had to sit where my back was to the wall, where I could see the most people possible. Um, it was constant and it was very distracting. It was so hard for me to enjoy myself anywhere. So, I mean, I truly believe before I found this session that I was living a fraction of the life that I could have been living. And so that's why I'm so adamant about sharing this information because it literally saved my life and it changed everything about me. My prior to the session, I had no self-esteem. I thought I was ugly and fat and worthless, and I told myself that in my head every morning. That there was no purpose for me. I didn't belong here. I don't know why I'm still living. And today I know that I'm beautiful and I am an amazing human being. I have not felt a single ounce of negativity towards myself in 2.5 years. And and for people that don't know what that's like, um, I
It's
guess I
amazing. That's really, really amazing. If someone wants to find out more about this program and they want to Google it, what do they type in? Do they just type in 220
yeah,
or
the number 22 and then type out zero.org and contact them and they will get with you and they will take care of you. I'm telling you, the people in this organization are amazing. And you are allowed to do several sessions. I've only done one so far. I did one and then I had an incident, a very stressful incident happen a little while after I did my session. And I contacted the coach and I was like, I think I need to do this again. And she ran me through it kind of in a shorter version of it to decompress the stress that I had just experienced. They will they will help you. I'm telling you this. It's 100% effective. Everybody that goes through it has some sort of positive benefit. So what all I can say is reach out sooner than later. Today, if you're feeling those things, if you are stressed, if you're having nightmares, if you have anxiety, if PTSD is ruining your life, reach out today because I promise you will not regret it. Um, I can't even put into words. I tell people it was like walking out of hell and into heaven on earth.
that's amazing.
That's the only way I can describe it.
Well,
Uh,
and your story, on the one hand, it's like your story is not unique. There are
no,
so
no,
many
no.
women that I have heard. On the other hand, every story is unique because every person is an individual and deals with things differently. And to hear you talk about what you've gone through, and I keep going, yep, my husband was in the military, and it's hard because not only do we have a service dog with us everywhere we go, but he's always got to find the table that's closest to the wall, and he's got to sit on that side, and it's amazing what we go through. And he's a man, but it's just the fact that you're always in such a vigilant mode and you've always got to have your head on a 24 swivel, and
Well,
that's
and that's
hard.
what you're trained to do. And I don't think a lot of people understand the impact it has to be trained not only to kill, but to be on the alert for enemies. It's ingrained in us. I know when I was in Korea, we were told when I got there that we were basically a speed bump. If anything had happened, we would all just be blown up. And I was just immediately I was like, oh. So this is something I need to worry about all the time. Um, and they would have these alerts that they would do to prepare us in case of an attack. And so randomly there'd be this loud alarm going off, and you had to drop what you were doing, run to the armory, go get your gun, go get all of your equipment, and get to the motor pool and get ready to go to war. And so your brain is just it's just this intense like, okay, I'm ready, let's go, let's go, let's go, like, and you don't realize when you get out of the military that that needs to be taken away. We don't need to be ready for war, not to that degree. Like when I was raising kids and doing laundry and washing dishes when I got out of the military, like to constantly be like, okay, where's the enemy, where's the enemy? it's It's awful. And
Yeah.
honestly, that's something that I would love to see is for this session to be done with soldiers when they're exiting the military, to turn that switch off. Why wait until they have PTSD so bad that they're on the verge of committing suicide? Like get it done. Same thing with children or anybody that's gone through a traumatic event. Children who have been kidnapped or beaten by their parents and taken away. Anybody that's gone through any sort of traumatic event, this session would be amazing to give them a relief before they move on with their life because I've seen it. I've experienced so many things and carried it with me for 40 years, and it's miserable. And knowing that this session exists, I just feel like it needs to be available for anybody that needs it. It is available for any military personnel, first responders, and their immediate family members who have experienced, the stress of living with those people. Um, it's free, and like I said, they will get back to you very quickly. And a lot of people that are mentoring are veterans. They actually offer training for veterans at no cost, learning how to do this session for other veterans because they understand that veterans are usually more comfortable talking to another veteran. My coach was married to a veteran, and she has so much compassion for the veteran community. So yeah, like I said, and your husband should take advantage of it. I would love to hear updates. I love speaking with people after they've gone through their session. I actually one of the podcast hosts that I recently spoke with, he's a veteran, and he tells me he's gonna reach out to them, and I get so excited because most people are kind of hesitant when I tell them about the session. And I'm like, please don't be hesitant. I promise you, it's not bad. Like, there's nothing bad that can come from this, but you have everything to gain. Your life can forever be changed in a positive way. So I can't wait to hear from anybody who goes through the session to hear about how it makes them feel. I've probably referred hundreds of people to this, but I've heard back from probably close to 20 people, and they all tell me the same thing. They're like, I feel so much better. Thank you so much for telling me about the session. And I was like, absolutely. I could not keep this to myself, not after experiencing what I went through.
Well, that's really very, very interesting. And unfortunately, we're running out of time, or we could go on with this some more. But
Oh,
I have a question for
yeah,
you, and it goes back to one of the first things you were talking about, and that's as a woman, it is very difficult, and I understand you don't want to talk about it with other people. You don't want to talk about it with your superiors because it could hurt you in your career. What do you tell your sisters that tell them that they can't hide this? They have to talk to someone. They have to get it
absolutely.
out.
I don't know, I've been out of the military for 20 years. But I know there has to be somebody that's not in your unit, that you can tell. I wish that I would have gone to someone else, gone to somebody at JAG, or somebody outside of my unit that wasn't connected to the person that assaulted me, because I know there has to be at least one person out there that's gonna listen, and they're gonna care. So I would say fight. I would say fight for your voice. You deserve to have, you deserve to have justice for what's done to you, and you definitely don't deserve to be, treated badly because of something you've experienced. And it wasn't your fault. That's one thing
That's the
that
big thing, I think, is that they need to realize that this is not their fault. It's not, that they've done anything to deserve this, and that they just need to look at it from that standpoint.
absolutely, yeah.
Okay, well, unfortunately, we are about out of time. So I do want to say thank you so much for being with us today and for all the wonderful information. Do you have one quick thing that you'd like to share before we leave? How can people reach out to you if they want to know more?
I am on all social media as Crazy Car Chick, and Chick is spelled Chik. I use motorsports to help veterans. It helps me, and so I'm just trying to share what I'm doing with others. But yeah, and my inbox is always open. I'm 100% disabled, so I work from home, basically being a peer mentor for anybody that needs it. But yeah, reach out to 220 if you're having issues, please, sooner than later. And I hope everyone well.
Well, thank you, Tia. And you've been listening to Silent Strength with Invisible Warriors. And if you haven't already, please give us a quick review and rating on iTunes. And don't forget, you can follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. To wrap things up, often after a podcast, people want to know more about some of the things we do at Invisible Warriors. If you'd like to hop on a Zoom, my contact information is in the show notes. Thanks again for tuning in and listening to today's conversation. See y'all soon. Bye bye.